Phillip Schofield and Ruth Langsford were forced to speak on camera for the first time since Piers Morgan made some barbed comments about their friendship. Viewers went wild for their latest awkward moment as Phil and Ruth chatted over satellite as This Morning cut to preview of Loose Women on Tuesday. Fans have been keeping watchful eye over the presenters after it was reported they are locked in bitter daytime telefeud, with Ruth allegedly making complaint against Schofield. Earlier today Phil was joined by his co-host Holly as he asked, "What have we got coming up today, Ruth?" "Well, you were actually discussing it earlier," Phillip responded. "Ruth, we're continuing with that topic of the day, MP Tracy Brabin wearing that dress." Phil then replied, "Thank you very much, Ruth," before Holly swiftly moved on to what was happening on their show tomorrow. After the very brief exchange, fans took to Twitter to comment they'd noticed an awkward atmosphere. "Tad awkward." Phil speaking to Ruth after Piers basically called him out yesterday, mused one. "Phil's learned his lesson obviously after his feud with Ruth. Never cut anyone else off again." Another added. A third viewer joked, "It seems Phil got hand-written letter from Ruth." It comes after Piers alluded to ongoing reports that Ruth and Phil have undergone falling out behind the scenes. He appeared on Loose Women earlier in the week where he made quip to Ruth. During discussion about celebs in the industry, he said, "We all know people who are supposed to be nice in the business, don't we, Ruth?" A shocked Ruth didn't directly respond and instead pulled an amused face to the audience. The beef between the presenters goes as far back as last April when Phil cut Ruth off mid-sentence during live link-up between This Morning and Loose Women. Phil interrupted Ruth as she was saying her piece with, "Guys, we are going to have to jump in there and stop you, I'm afraid. We are a bit tight for time on this end. Thank you, Ruth. We will catch you guys little bit later." Ruth was then seen hitting her pen on the table and muttering, "Well, only had about 2 more words to say. But don't worry." In December, ITV denied there was any tension between Phil and his co-host Holly Willoughby. The show's editor, Martin Frizzell, said, "We have the smartest viewers watching telly and believe me they would be the first to notice any issues. They haven't because there are none." An ITV spokesperson added, "It's deeply disappointing and unfair for Phillip to be the target of this sort of malicious gossip. Phillip is much respected broadcaster and colleague, and this is absolutely not description of This Morning that we recognize. Holly and Phil are great friends both on and off screen and are popular among viewers and colleagues alike." Despite the denials, viewers claimed to notice an ongoing atmosphere between Phil and Ruth when This Morning collected an award at the National TV Awards last month. Phil appeared to quash feud rumors by asking Ruth to say few words as they collected their statuette.